what to do. People are born, people live, and people die. Now the last 3-4 days, only news about Maradona. Maradona. He was a well-known football player. They say that he was the greatest football player. I'm not sure. It seems he was Pelé, the greatest football player. But anyway, the president of Argentina declared 3 days of national, how you call it? I even forget my English now. Anyway, like it was, I don't know, it's exaggerated. He was a good man. He was on our side. He was on the good side. He had this problem that led to he died because of this. He used to take drugs, cocaine addict. And this is when he was in Naples. What the hell he was going to do in Naples? Oh, they gave him money, a lot of money, so he went to work in Naples. And they have the Camorra, they control everything. And he got addicted to cocaine. Anyway, he died. God bless his soul. I think a man like him, the good thing he did are more important than let's call it the bad things, like taking drugs. He was supporting the Venezuelan Revolution. He was supporting the Cuban Revolution. He was on the right side, on the good side. And in his own country of birth, Argentina, he was on the side of the terrorists, you could say like this, They are nationalists. They are not foreign agents, like the actual president. Whatever, we get exaggerated, All the news, even Venezuelan news, they just talk about this. It is, I don't know what's going on. There are so many things that happen in the world today that why only talk about Maradona? Well, this is the world we live, So people forget their terrible situation and they just talk about Maradona. In Argentina, the economical situation is terrible, It's one of the countries with most people contaminated with the virus, coronavirus. Tens of thousands of people are killed, died. It's terrible. It's not the fault of Maradona, it's not the fault of the president, but it is a fact. So his guess is being used to forget reality. And this is a manipulation by all sides of the media. I studied the Soviet Union from 1968 to 1970. We were expelled with combat because we were for the guerrilla in Venezuela and this. And they tried to recruit us, didn't work, so we were out. Anyway, I continued, and my combat continued, but not with me, because we were separated by geography. And for up to today, I am a Fidai, a fighter for the Palestinian cause. Because the liberation of Al-Quds, Arab Al-Quds, Al-Quds al-Islami, Al-Quds al-Messiahi, or Al-Quds al-Yahudi. The liberation of Jerusalem is important for everybody, for all believers, for the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. Whatever. We continue. We go on. It seems it was the Israelis. We don't know. Maybe the Americans themselves. They assassinated a professor in Tehran with a car bomb, which killed him. And because he was the man in charge of the nuclear, how you call it, not the nuclear system, but the nuclear department in the economy of Tehran. So it is a mistake. They accused officially that it is the Israelis. Of course, they don't call it the Americans because you have a change of government in America, the United States. And they hope to go back to the normal relation with President Biden, with the new president. Whatever. The Israelis do not respect anything. And I don't think Israel have all the means. There are Iranians who are helping them. And the Iranian Jews, the majority, they support the revolution because the Islamic revolution gave them rights, including, in spite of the small minority they have a right to have a deputy in parliament. They have a right to have a Jewish deputy. Not more because there are not enough Jews there. And they are respected. They can pray and go to the synagogues, which is not the case in Saudi Arabia and in other countries. At the same time, Saudi Arabia with the Zionists, the criminals of Israel, but the Jews are not allowed to have a synagogue. In Medina, they had the synagogue, they had synagogues at the time of the Prophet. I don't mean that I am not interested in associates. I give this as an example of the situation in which we live. The manipulation of the news, the crimes committed by the imperialist and Zionist enemy. Assassinate an important man, a scientist, the most important nuclear scientist in Iran. It's not a joke, this. This is a war than the declaration of war. Anyway, we'll continue. But in Iran, the revolution, the Islamic revolution, the Shia revolution, will not fall. They are very strong and they will survive. President Martyr Saddam Hussein, which I love very much in spite of the mistakes he did, now including the war against Iran, against revolutionary Iran, Islamic Iran. Anyway, I never been to Tehran because my German wife didn't want to go. I will not cover my face, my head. What's the problem? You cover your head? No. And we had a baby, and the girl at the time, she was 4 years old. So I didn't go. I had to leave Syria. The Ilich Ramirez deal with Americans to deliver. They don't deliver me, but they inform them where I go. And the French agents of the United States Secret Services, CIA, were supposed to arrest me. In fact, I was never arrested. Up till now, I am kidnapped. Anyway, it is not big news for my lawyers. They know the situation. They know what's going on. And I continue to hold on. Hold on. It's very important to hold on. Otherwise, they will disappear. And when they disappear, means not physically disappear, but in the news disappear. In spite of everything, the news continues. An example that I was surprised, one of the Turkish lawyers, the main one, sent me a mail, and there were things, he said, this news about me from many countries, and it was very interesting, So I'm not completely forgotten. Though after 26 years in prison, I'm getting old, and I survive. I hope I will go back to Venezuela. I will be able to continue the struggle, not with weapons, because, well, we will get weapons eventually, because Venezuela is a duty, It's a dangerous country, and but not for political reasons, but to defend the revolution. In spite that some people have penetrated the revolutionary government, we have to support the Venezuelan revolution, the Bolivarian revolution, and lead it along the right side and the right line. We will not forget that President Erdogan, who is the greatest president of the country after Kemal Atatürk. This is not a joke. It's important. He supports Venezuela for many years now, and this is extremely important. And Turkey, they wanted to get rid of this government. They tried to get rid of this government, which is not a perfect government, but at least they are independent. They are not agents of United States imperialists. They are not agents of Israel, of the Zionists. Only they have to push peace back to the country. That the Kurds and the other minorities will continue the struggle in a peaceful way through democracy, through elections, and that the government of President Erdogan will recognize the historical rights. And let's not forget, I have to say it again, that the Kurds are the latest people who arrived to Turkey, to that area. They were not Turks. They arrived 4 centuries ago. Did more, maybe 4 or 5 centuries ago. It's unbelievable. The Kurds arrived over 2,000 years ago. And the Christians from the East, they arrived, they are there since thousands of years. Even before they were Christians. Anyway, what I want to come to is the following. We have a world situation of difficulties. Today, in France, in Paris, a big demonstration. And many people have been wounded, and many people have been arrested. They are fighting or protesting against the kind of law they want to impose in France. We will not allow the people better rights, like the right to get together, and to the rights, to police, about the police, you know. The law says that no policeman should be photographed, no policeman should be taped. Everybody is taped now. You have cameras everywhere. Only we can do, not the policemen. Why not? They have nothing to fear normally. And unfortunately, this week there has been a terrible aggression against a black man, a producer, a movie producer. And they was seen by a camera. And they massacred him. He was lucky not to get killed. And in his own house, not in the street. A real racist, criminal aggression. The proof that even the government has to keep them in prison, and they are going to be at least 24 hours longer in provisional arrest. And probably they will go to prison. Who knows? We will see. But racism, this terrible racism against the blacks, but not against the blacks, this racism against the whites as well. Which white? The Muslim whites. Not only the Arabs and the Berber, even the Turks. We have a lot of Turks in France, in Germany especially. Everywhere you find Turkish immigrants who came in the 1960s. But they are not people with papers, as you think. They are legally in these countries. So they would like to, this kind of policemen would like to get rid of them. It will not be so easy. And especially with a good government we have in Istanbul, in Ankara, that defend the rights of the Kurds, of the Turks, everywhere in the world. Anyway, we don't know what will happen, but I am not pessimistic. If President Erdogan doesn't get killed, and I repeat, doesn't get killed, because I think they will try again to kill him. He was very, very careful. The regime will continue. How they will correct the mistakes, and the Islamic government will get stronger and cleaner, and even your position will be respected and will respect the government. Whatever, we don't know what will happen. But I am not pessimistic because La ilaha illallah wa Muhammad Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar.